I'm fucking Pickle Rick. I'm dying in a vat in the garage. No, I'm just here to point out now, like the content that I've expressed wasn't ideal or intended initially to be arranged into the contents of a YouTube channel. Books and songwriting and music production, but essentially this the owner of this pharmacy group moving against me, what I do know is as precise as his scientists can measure, a moment of traumatic heartbreak appears to him as a moment of sexual embarrassment, and that has to mean, like, and then he's taking these leaps. I mean, you don't really know of sexual anything at the age of 5, and so he had some experience. I'm so certain, from which his religion now excuses him. Maybe his parents were Christian, and then after weighing up and contrasting Freemasonry against Christianity, Roger Toll decided that he would invest in Freemasonry, and that way he would feel that he had morally overturned his parents. But yeah, what he does is it involves discriminatory wastes of time concerning articles of the imagination, which, because see, this was I think Einstein and Bohr perhaps should have said more along this line, because governments devising technologies off their theories was their concern, and their misuse being cruel and inhumane was their concern. But putting these instruments in the hands of religious scientists, and all the things that religious people take for granted, means they're out potentially for thievery of humans, as their supernatural faith inspires them behind their scientific equipment. So yeah, the man disgusts me. The price he pays for holding on to this faith, I think it's important to him to hold on to the Freemason faith, because that's how he feels that he's negotiated himself out of whatever experience he had with his mother when and his voice didn't break, probably. So he needs Freemasonry to bludgeon that he was in the right, so he can feel that he was in the right. And as a result, when he impersonates a psychiatrist, he produces really stupid profiles, like this video made this form of behavior possible, or that form of behavior possible. Really stupid profiles. Like, conversely, you sit behind screens and you wish for more fame and notoriety than you've got, and then you deserve. Yeah, while I've said whole volumes I think could be written on Roger and Gary's indecencies. It's fair enough to say that they comprise Canberra's adversary in a way. In the sense that social progress requires sociological experiments, even in the mildest and lightest and softest and lesser corrupt of ways. Progress would otherwise be would be impossible. But the Human Rights Act is something that Roger is opposed to. What he does is that he can use a form of language towards you, and then if the reaction is not what he intended, he can always tell himself, well, that was just a test. That was just a test. I was testing for this. I was testing for that. And as a result, he gets away with... he gets to excuse himself from a bunch of corruptness. I mean, contacting you at your residence when he's already promised he's not means he broke a promise. And then, learning that you're not going to work for him anymore, he decides, well, Luke, you like taking the blame for things. I need someone for this. And then within a day or two, he has your place robbed and your phone is unable to contact. You're only really able to walk across and around the street and talk to your local neighbors there. But yeah, pretending he is in direct association to the Queen's Guard and a direct friend of the Queen. So from the citizens' receiving end, what needs to happen is they need to be told initially, or asked, do you give consent to be involved in in scientific or medical experimentation? And he needs to ask for that consent. That consent needs to be offered to him, or else what he's done is he tries to push certain leverage buttons, representing himself as a direct friend and affiliate of the Queen and the Queen's Guard, then leaves the citizen thinking that they'll be liable to charges like being not standing up for the country, being an ingenuine, dispatriot citizen, so we insist you comply, and he'll convey all these tangents while just telling himself that the use of words in the way that you'd recite a fucking holy book verse, and they're just tests. They're just tests. He's absolutely detuned from the damages that he, in reality, causes. Because once he is truthful about them, then he'll really see the ways in which he has been a disgrace. I would suggest it began, if we put religion aside, I would suggest this sort of shit began when capitalist philosophy convinced him that he could dabble in the playing of the roles for which he had no training qualifications, no modern license. Yeah. So, my concern about this viral outbreak was that there would be more opportunity for identity and digital crime. Digital crime is so broad in terms of what sorts of crimes that can be committed digitally. That I thought that ad was atrocious, where the policewoman tells the guy that, you know, photos of you were stolen from your computer, but you downloaded a movie, so you brought it on yourself. Actually, it wouldn't have. And direct connections to hard drive content and folders within hard drives of photos. They don't really get made accessible by clicking on the browsing index of a torrent site. So this equivocating crime, categorically different types of crimes, is pathetic. Yeah, I asked, what if the roles are switched? You had a male cop talking to a 10 or 11 or 7-year-old girl, reporting that a Catholic or a Freemason, Grand Poobah, was asking her to send photos of herself through to his email, and then the copper says, well, that certainly looks pedophilic, but on the other hand, you've downloaded Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way. So go fly a kite, you little shit, because we won't investigate your case. And that's why they wonder why it is standing up for the country to call them piggers, because they really bring it on themselves by equivocating distinctly different types and categories of crime by calling them the same. They should read the Bibles that they try to offer you in cells when they've confiscated your phone, so you can't read the books that actually don't dissolve parts of the brain. And they go, we've got a Bible. Well, you should read it. You should actually read it in full.